Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
That was so beautiful. What was the meaning of this mantra?
The mantra is a common one. It's addressing the as a result of the Guru's opening my eyes, imbuing me with knowledge, wisdom, jnana.
Hi guys, welcome to the episode number 7 of Bliss of Life. Well, this episode is extremely special because we had a very special guest today. He's a monk and he will be explaining the Krishna Consciousness with us. So I hope you guys will enjoy this bliss today. We have a very special guest today, and his name is Swami Bhakti Marg, and he will be talking today about the Krishna Consciousness and how he got connected today. It's a very special podcast. I hope you will guys enjoy it. So hi Swami G, how are you?
Namaste, Hare Krishna.
Namaste, how are you?
Good. Fantastic.
How's your life?
It's been pretty good.
It's been
very
pretty good.
Full, fulfilling, can't complain. No regrets.
That's good.
It's too positive.
That's amazing, as you are connected with Krishna.
Yes.
I would request you if you can start with this, as this podcast is very, very special to us. I would just request you to start with any mantra you would like to, just to start with the podcast.
Sure, just to invoke some good fortune, auspiciousness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. What was the meaning of this mantra? As a lot of people
the mantra is a common one. It's addressing the Guru. The name of my Guru is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who started the Hare Krishna movement. And the verse actually is saying, I offer my respects to my Guru, my teacher. I was born in ignorance and I became enlightened as a result of the Guru's opening my eyes, imbuing me with knowledge, wisdom, jnana, as we say.
Okay, thank you. I want you to introduce yourself. Who are you, and how you got connected with Krishna?
Well, my name is Bhakti Marg Swami, and that's a name that was given to me when I was 20 years of age, after I committed myself to the mission. And at that time, just prior to that, I was a fine arts student. I was going to college, and I was just learning painting, sculpting, philosophy and psychology that goes behind this kind of lifestyle. But I wasn't that fulfilled. I thought that I had greater purpose. My mission was to involve people and interact with them and do something that would be benevolent. So I met some monks from the Hare Krishna movement. First of all, on Yonge Street in Toronto. The second time was in Victoria, on the main drag there. The third time was at college. I was taking a fine arts course in Sudbury, Cambrian College, where I had relatives living up there. And that's when I met some devotees of Krishna. So after a big inner search for what I would do with my life, these young men who were renounced in a way, they gave me all the answers that I needed to know. I observed their lifestyle. They seemed to be happy. They seemed to be clean. There was not a lot of emphasis on materialism. It was just a beautiful lifestyle. And I knew that the roots of it all came from India. And I always understood that the Indian culture it goes way back. I think you can't, it's a culture that's been resilient throughout the years, throughout the ages. It's been around the longest and it's still intact, So I thought there must be some substance to this. And I also got very attracted to the vegetarian lifestyle, veganism, and so on like that. I thought that was good. I was raised on a farm in southwestern Ontario, near Chatham, Ontario. And we would eat the animals that we considered were our little pets, and sometimes give names to. So I never felt good about eating animals because they're like us psychologically, physically, and I thought it was a little inhumane. Now, there were hardly any vegetarians in 1972, 73, but I understood that there are cultures, particularly in the East, who have maintained a non-violent diet, over the centuries. So I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
That's great. Even I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, great.
I don't like meat. I don't. I mean, there's no. I mean, complain who people who like to eat, but it's my own same. I have a same thinking process as well. I don't prefer that. When you actually, before you get introduced to Krishna, how was your childhood? Like, did you know that you were always part of Krishna?
No, I was raised in a Christian community, and I adored it. I liked it. I used to go to church before I went to school, out of my own volition. There was a period where I was doing that. I just felt very at home, where it's peaceful, and I always thought that Jesus was a cool dude. Some people might take offense to that. They would expect me to say more. They'll say, why don't you say he's God? But nowhere does it say in the scriptures that he's God. You hear people say he's the Son of God, and then when I heard that, I thought, well, that's okay. I'm also a son of God, because since God's my father. But comparing good son to bad son, well, I'm the bad one, and he's the good one, and everyone else pretty much fits into the bad category. So the idea is by following a great saint, if you will, one can become purified. One can get to the level of being a sadhu of sorts. That's the term that's used. Yeah, so that's the idea. We accept Jesus as our guru, and in my heart. But then I met Krishna devotees, and they had a guru. As I mentioned, Prabhupada is his name. He was born in Kolkata, and he was a great emissary of the teachings of Bhakti Yoga. And he went all over the world to share Krishna consciousness, Bhakti, which is all about love, really, love. And I was also a fan of the Beatles, They sang about love, 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 and all their music was pretty great, still is classical. And their search led them also to India. They went to Rishikesh to see Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and spent some time there. George Harrison picked up the culture maybe more than the other three fellows. His music changed, his lyrics changed. He became a follower of Krishna, you can say. And why not? Krishna's very attractive on all levels.
I love you being talking and talking. I love that. I would just listen to you, for hours and hours. I want to know that when you shifted from, you said that you were practicing Jesus, right? You were praying to him. The shift you had, how would you, it's very hard to sometimes, as a human, to connect. You have your own roots. You would act like your culture was very different. You shifted to something else. What was that process, and how did you? I want to know about the experiences that attracted Krishna towards you.
Well, I don't think it was such a drastic or radical change. Because I was a Christian, and then I kind of put that to the shelf for a little while. I was a young person. I just experimented like most people do. They try this and try some substance of this. They experiment with, sex and everything, all those kind of things. I was quite clean in that area, but it was just, I was just really on a search, for self-understanding. And I realized that, well, Krishna, he's saying the same things that Jesus is saying, perhaps something that's more purna, more complete, you know. So I never felt that I really transitioned out of one to go into another. You know, I might say I was part of one institution, I went to another institution, but in terms of mindfulness, that didn't change. That didn't change. You
They
know?
both were exactly
They
same.
were compatible. They were compatible, totally.
Okay.
Yes. Because after all spiritualists, they teach the same thing. It's about kindness and loving. And if there is a, let's say, an outfit or an institution that expresses itself to be superior or, you know, come across as condescending, that's not very spiritual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I just liked what I was experiencing by meeting these monks and spending some time visiting them in their headquarters in Toronto at the time. And I liked it. I just thought was very Jesus-like, and it was very like less is more, that kind of culture. It was a good fit for me. That wouldn't be for everybody, but was for me.
When you met a lot of monks, like their vibration, their energy is very different.
Yes.
What was the first question you asked them?
Well, I was told, for instance, that we are living in this physical world, and it's influenced largely by Maya. Maya is a Sanskrit term that means illusion. So I had asked one of the monks, please tell me what is the purpose of Maya? Why do we need Maya? Because it means illusion, temptation. The answer that came back to me in the form of a letter, we wrote letters and then sealed it and, you know, put a stamp on it, 3 cents, 5 cents, whatever.
No,
you know, it's laborious.
yeah, aesthetic, I would just say, in
Yeah.
today's language.
Yes. So I asked them, what is the purpose of Maya? And the answer that came back to me was that the purpose of Maya or illusion is to protect Krishna from those who are not sincere. So I had to think deeply about that, you know. If I want to be a follower of Krishna, then it just means I have to be very serious about it and approach it with some level of integrity. And so that I tried to endeavor in that way, and some results came out of that.
Okay, that's so beautiful. And when you told them you wanted to, did you just ask them that I wanted to practice Krishna, or they guided you, you know, how you can get more connected towards him?
Well, the mission is all about trying to encourage people to participate and become a member, to being a practitioner at least. You can either live as a sort of like a monastic person, like a monk, or you could perhaps live like a regular person, just Krishna is the central point. You know? And for me, it came natural to live a monastic lifestyle, you know, and I believe that was an integral part of my life prior to coming. That in the previous life, I've been doing this kind of thing before. So when I read the books like the ancient Bhagavad Gita and other texts that are complementary, they were all saying the same thing, you know, let us simplify, let us purify, and let us multiply, let's say, the information to the conditioned souls. Because let's face it, everyone's struggling.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of, you know, but if you're, let's say, focused on your spiritual deity, then you're very anchored, you know. And those who don't have that kind of anchoring in their life, they just struggle a lot more. That's been my observation.
Okay.
There's a certain stability that comes along with remembering Krishna, speaking about him, and hearing what he has to say with this wisdom that he imparted to Arjuna, his warrior friend, long ago. So Krishna's offered so much, and we can all benefit from what he has to say, and also what he has done, and will continue to do.
Yes. Do you feel that at the like at the end, the purpose of a person's life, a human life, is to to achieve the higher consciousness.
Yes, I mean, the purpose of human life, of what the Vedas have to say, the ancient texts, there's a Vedic aphorism, I'll use it, I'll put it out there, Atato Brahma Jignasa, which means now that I've gone through many lives, many species, now I've got the human form of life. So what do humans have that is kind of unique and special over all the other life forms, whether it be animals, plants, insects, what have you, is that we have the capability and the capacity to understand that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit, and that there's two worlds out there. There's matter and there is spirit, and it's natural for human beings to probe into the spirit, what we call Brahman. And whereas most people, especially in the world that we live now, the pop culture, it's all pretty much about what you can acquiesce, what you can accumulate, we're always grabbing for something. And of course, there are necessities, but there's a lot of accessories, and there's a lot of things we just don't need. And yet we're programmed to need them, through like media pressures and so on like that. But if you can actually get a taste of simple life, simple living, high thinking, it's a Gandhi term, then you can encounter happiness. And happiness is what everybody's looking for. To get it, you have to probe into the spirit, go inside, not outside.
Got it.
It's like a honey, like a honeybee will go around a honey jar, he'll circle around, he's attracted to it. But unless if you open the jar, the lid, and let him come dive in, you can only speculate. So you get first-hand experience through the bhakti yoga process to appreciate what is devotional service, what is spiritual activity. Yeah. So it was, again, I felt totally at home.
It's been how long you have been practicing Krishna?
Well, I joined in 1973 officially. I was starting to read the books in 72. That was around this time, Christmas time. Okay. Christmas was a little bit depressing for me because it was all about Christmas carols and music going on out there. Basically it's to set you in a mood, to set you up for opening up the wallet. Or, now, right. Of course, it's different,
Yeah.
Get into the bank account.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't for me. I thought that I probably got that out of my system in a previous life, so now I'm set. I'm set to.
Do you think you have been connected to Krishna like from
births,
like
a
lot of lives?
Yes, that's right. That it is possible. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavang mang prapadyate. That's a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And basically, Krishna is saying there that after many births and deaths, one might become a scholar. And after being a scholar, one might actually end up being like really living it and stop speculating, but living a life of, of Shabda Brahman, spiritual sound, spiritual vibrations, spiritual activities.
When when monk introduced you to the Krishna, how you started practicing?
Well, I started practicing right away. They were the first people to tell me, you don't need to eat meat. Let the animals be. So I started from there. And that abstinence is a part of a component to what we call sadhana, spiritual exercise, internal exercise. Everybody talks about working out, but this is like working in, working on yourself. So I was just engaged in that kind of practice. And that's why I say I feel fulfilled. It's just meant for everybody.
You used to meditate?
Yeah, the meditation in our tradition takes the shape and the form of chanting mantras mostly. And we use musical instruments, accompaniment, to bring out the best of everyone, in the form of beautiful melodies that praise Krishna and his avatars, his leelas, so it's all there. It's all there. And that's what gives you contentment. So for me, I just simply started practicing, and I would chant mantras on a strand of beads like this. Each bead has 108, let's say, beads on the garland of the mala, and on each one you chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So you should chant a lot, and this is how you got connected.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely how you get connected, you get zapped. But I was also very moved by the behavior of these monks. I just thought that they were really unique kind of guys, you know. And now getting into trouble, you don't find them in the bars, you know, on the weekend. There's none of that kind of stuff that goes on. So I was really happy and pleased with the change, the breath of fresh air through chanting and reading and memorizing some of the ancient texts and so on like that.
When you first time practiced the chanting, what was your experience and how did you feel inside?
When I felt very cleansed, liberated, freed. Now the trick is that when something is novel, it's easy to embrace. But after some time, the novelty wears off. And then you're basically wondering, well, now what? What next? So for me, it was, the final stage was sannyas, where I agreed to be a celibate monk for the rest of my life. Yeah, so that's my journey.
With Krishna.
That's right.
Krishna, in my personal experience, when I was very young, I was like 8, 9 years old. I used to have the photo of Krishna and sleep.
Oh, nice.
With me, and I feel like my first deity I was connected was with Krishna at a very young age.
Nice.
My grandmother was very used to, used to sing songs of Krishna, used to dance, and I felt like the Krishna presence has always been in my life. In my life, my deities has always been, they have come and gone to different kind of days. I've connected to Mata Rani, Hanuman,
right.
Ganesh, and they have come in my life. And do you think that the deity come and go, it's fine, even if you're not practicing that particular god at that point?
So your question lies on, is it okay to have multiple gods?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. God has many manifestations, just like, say, for instance, if we were to arrange a Halloween party, we're all going to be a different person.
Yes.
And we're going to try to impersonate that individual. So God does the same thing, He puts himself out there and takes on a roop, like a form. And that form is something that is appealing to some, maybe not others. But we have avatars, different avatars, because in our culture we believe in multiple, let's say, universal powers. It's not just one. Mm-hmm. So because God is many, and only in the Middle East you find an insistence on one God, and what that is, the main faith groups don't always agree. That seems to be a commitment factor of the human form of life. Yeah, so in my case, I got very comfortable with Krishna just because there's a lot of information there about who is Krishna and what he represents. And we do believe that he's the source of all avatars or all incarnations. So that's why Krishna is special.
Krishna is very special. Definitely. I believe so. It's his blessing today that we are doing this today. And it was very tough, to arrange this. Definitely. I wanted to know, as you have said, that you also have, read Bhagavad Gita. Any particular thing which you think people should know and learn from that?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita is a segment of a larger text called the Mahabharata. It's in the middle, and basically it's the philosophical side of the Mahabharata, which is the history of Greater India and extended lands. So what we are finding out from the Gita is like how to address depression or semi-depression, loneliness and dejection. And a lot of people go through that. So Krishna is offering to Arjuna, who's going through this sort of nervous breakdown, a way to get out of this, a way to move forward, and to be very committed to what we call dharma, you know, sticking to prescribed duties, and not deviating from that. You know, keeping busy. The biggest problem a lot of people have is that they're not busy enough. There's two types that I've seen. Super busy, like workaholics, you know, trying to survive, and then there's the other folks that are just not pulling their weight in a way. And as soon as you kind of have, you know, that scenario about you, it's kind of like an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And if you don't keep yourself engaged in something positive, if you don't make a contribution, you don't put a dent into Maya, as we say, yeah, you will struggle. You'll suffer, and you'll start to. The mind will take over. You start to overthink, and the term that we use, mindfulness, doesn't kick in. So it's really important to introduce this. This philosophy, this culture, and embrace this what we call jnanam, you know, knowledge of the self, science of the self, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the body. I mean, everyone knows in the pop culture, we're encouraged to look good, to look cool. You know, you do things with your hair, you go on for makeup, you do even change your gender, and all these things are going on. But ultimately, we can't really be satisfied with those things because it's a physical adjustment, and the adjustment that needs to be made comes from an inner core.
Perfect. Thank you. That was very beautiful. I think so. A lot of people want to connect with the deity, but they don't have the enough knowledge. You know, people are so scientific these days that you know they want to know more about the deity so that they can have connection.
Yes.
Do you feel like when you are connecting with a deity or with any kind of a deity, it is not more like a scientific like nowadays people are more scientific. But do you think when it's come to deity, it's more like emotional or something, the characteristics
Yes,
matter?
deity worship can be devotional. You have to remember a big part of bhakti is the jnanam cultivation, you know, the philosophical cultivation, which is like trying to see the powers and the divinity and everything, and the snow and the trees and the sun and the sky, so on like that, and the animals. So yogis or spiritual people can be very scientific also, you know. But it's also good to maintain a good balance, that you can be emotional, but also temperate with some kind of, you know, practical things that you see. But one shouldn't live without the other. It's like a perfect marriage, you know. And you can become extremely hard-hearted, almost like if you're just analyzing. Analysis paralysis is what can take place. You know, so it's really a good opportunity when you can take these two elements of the human form of life, that is cultivating your spiritual side and cultivating your physical side.
I want to ask you that which shade of Krishna you are like most attracted to?
I like Krishna's philosophical side. I like that he was there with his friend Arjuna, who's having a tough time and trying to sort out in his mind the best course of action. Krishna helped him through that. He encouraged him to stick to Dharma, stick to your duty and responsibility, go forward. And in that way, you'll gain good karma. Anytime when there's lots of speculation and guesses and pulling away from what you ought to do, that just gets you into hot water. So the best thing is that. So I like the fact that Krishna's speaker of Bhagavad Gita, Song of God, and that's the text 700 verses, you know. And I like the fact that he is disseminating this, you know, knowledge and information to the world. Apart from his being a little child and getting into some pranks and things like that, they're adorable.
Yes,
They really are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And what kind of good books, you will prefer people to read other than Bhagavad Gita?
Bhagavad Gita is good, and then we have another follow-up on that. It's called the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Purana. And I have written my own book too, on the Saffron Path it's called, and I've walked across Canada 4 times promoting the walking culture. I've done a few other countries, the US and Ireland, Israel, Guyana, Trinidad, Fiji Islands, Mauritius. And so this is what it is. It's the Saffron Path, and it's an easy read. So I always encourage people to read my book.
Definitely. I will definitely read it.
Here's my gift to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will definitely read about you and how you get more connected.
Yes.
And yes, this podcast has been very short, but I wish we could talk for hours and hours.
Well, I'll give you days, weeks.
We'll do a next segment of this podcast for sure for our audience. So thank you so much for coming to our show, A Bliss of Life. Thank you so much for showing the blessings and everything.
Yes.
I have one request to end this conversation. Would you like to say something, any mantra or anything you would like to share?
Well, yes, I would just like to say that may all good fortune come upon all of you. And if I could just offer the mantra again, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna means the all-attractive one, and Rama is one of the avatars. And so by chanting these names, one purges, one gets clean. So let's make that effort. We all have some work to do.
Thank you so much again. Thank you, Swami G. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Well, what should I say? I'm literally out of words because when I was sitting in front of him, I do not know what I was supposed to ask and what questions should I ask him, because I wanted to just hear him for hours and hours and hours. I hope you got the same energy, because the energy was so nice, was so calm. He's one of the most, I would just say, soulful person I've met, and the episode we have shot till now. So thank you so much again for all the love you have given to this channel, and please continuing doing this. Please subscribe to the channel again, to the Bliss of Life. I hope you guys enjoy this episode again. Lots of love.